Hey, Kaiju fans, welcome back to the show, or welcome to the show, as it is. I am Mark.
And I'm Dimitri.
And within this podcast we created, we are going to cover a variety of Kaiju films. They can be Toho, Legendary, or any other company's version of Kaiju film, whether it be American, Korean, Japanese, who knows? The whole world's our game and play at this point. So, Dimitri,
We will be starting our first episode of the podcast, which will be our coverage of Monarch Season 2, that will be found on Apple TV+.
Yep. And right now, this is our promo 2. So we just wanted to introduce ourselves and have fun and let you know who we are as people. So within that, we're going to talk about, and we're going to have like a brief discussion if you guys really want to sink in and be the typical nerds that we are, the geeks that go to the conventions. Love that stuff. I'm old. I'm at 53 years old, and I've gone to Godzilla conventions back in the 90s, everybody, early 90s. So I've had that experience. I met Haru Nakajima, Kenpachiro Satsuma, all the original suit actors that played Godzilla. And I met a few people. The king of the underworld. I got to meet him from Megalon. If you remember Godzilla versus Megalon, I got to meet him and speak to that man before he passed away. So there's so many people that I got to meet, and they're amazing. They're great people. But I love talking about Godzilla. I love talking about all these big, huge monster films. So that's the reason why me and Dimitri are here. We're going to talk about our fandom right now. You could sit and listen to us geek out. And then come our first episode, guess what? You'll hear us talk about Monarch Season 2, Episode 1 on the next episode. You'll remember me if you listen to the Wilhelm podcast, or if you listen to the Monarch coverage on House Podcastica that was in conjunction with Wilhelm podcast with my friend Ben Beck. Ben, I have not heard from, but we are continuing this journey with him or without him at this point. If he jumps in and he wants to jump in and join in, great. That is awesome. But it's going to be me and Dimitri at this point, and we're just going to have fun and do it episodically. I don't have any screeners. I'm just here to watch it as you guys do. So if it comes out like 2 or 3 days later after the show has come out, please don't be upset with us. We're just here podcasting as it comes out and giving that we have regular jobs, everybody. We just have fun. So bear with us. But right now, we're going to go into our favorite kaijus as a discussion. So Dimitri, this is a lot of getting to know you between you, myself, and the listeners.
Yes.
So do you have any favorite kaijus that you love?
Well, gotta file Godzilla because that's a given. So
yeah, that's a given.
Godzilla.
Yeah, Godzilla, Gojira.
I've been having a surge of love for the one kaiju I was not expecting, and that was Varan.
Oh,
and
okay.
that was mainly because I've written him into one of my stories, which we'll get into for obvious reasons.
Okay, that's fine.
But yeah, I've watched. I now have the Japanese and the English versions of Varan.
So you have the hold on. You have the subtitled version of Varan, but you also have the dubbed version of Varan. Okay. There's a distinguished difference, everybody, for you listeners. Those who are not Kaiju fans, that are just avid watchers of Monarch, or people just watch it on, let's say, Pluto TV, because they do have a Pluto channel every year or so, and they play Godzilla. They played the dubbed versions, but on Pluto TV, they've been literally been using the subtitled versions, which is amazing too, because you get the original Japanese voice. It's the original, like literal voice to text of the dialogue that's going on. But if you get the dubbed versions that we've been hand fed over the years through HBO or video, or if we're going back way back to Blockbuster and Suncoast Video, if you bought them there, you would get a dubbed version. The original, like Japanese version, is always best, in my opinion. That's just my thought. I could watch those till the sun goes down, and I could recite the dialogue. Yes, I'm a nerd, and I'm terrible, and but the thing is, I'll throw on occasionally the dubbed version, just so it's on in the background, just for fun. And there are two different versions. If you listen to them, or if you read the subtitles in the original Japanese, and then you listen to the dub versions, which is an Americanized version, there's a difference within story plot and dialogue, and you have to listen to it. And I love the fact that you like the idea that you got both. And Varen was only theirs for so much. And I love how in Destroy All Monsters, the original from the early 60s, before it transitioned over into the 70s, that was like the big all to end all for the end of the 60s to go into the 70s. We got Varen, but the thing was, he was only there for a moment. And the reason why they did that was because the suit was so destroyed at that point, they didn't want to destroy it anymore. And they had to utilize it, and they just use it as a secondary. They wanted to use him in the main scenes in Destroy All Monsters, but Varen is a very good movie, and I do enjoy that. I'm glad that you picked that one.
Yeah, I mean, we could have had him in 2001 because the director wanted
You're
Varen
talking,
and Garrus.
what are you talking? Final Wars?
No, that's 2004. The 2001 film is Godzilla, Mothra, King Ghidorah, Giant Monsters All Out Attack.
Giant Monsters All Out Attack. Yes,
or GMK. But
GMK.
originally, originally it was supposed to be Anguirus, Varen, and Baragon.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, heads of Toho. Actually, no. We have to get at least two other popular monsters, throwing Mothra and King Ghidorah.
Yeah, I know. Ghidorah is always the go-to. Same thing with Mothra at times. Mothra is a legacy character, as we know from the series of the Toho series. And he has his own series in Toho itself, in the 90s, if you recall. They had three films, and into the 2000s, latter part of the 90s into the 2000s. Ghidorah has always been a standpoint, because who doesn't want a three-headed dragon with wings? Honestly, who doesn't love that? And on top of that, you have Godzilla, you got Angeles or Anguillus, depending on how you want to describe or pronounce the name.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people have different ideas of how to pronounce it. I'm not sure. My friend Yoshi can never tell me exactly, and he does paparazzi and stuff for Japanese media and everything else. But yeah, I do enjoy that movie. I love GMK for the fact that you had a Godzilla who had the Exorcist eyes. They're whited out, and oh my god. Yeah. If you guys out there are, if you have those like small action figures that we had, they are amazing. and I have one. And yeah, I have one in box, and then I have one out of box, and it's amazing to have. They do sell stuff like that online for the buildings and towers to work with those, and oh my goodness, they are amazing. You should go out there and get them. For me, my favorite, obviously, Godzilla is my huge, biggest crush fandom, whether it be Toho or Legendary. No, not the Geno Godzilla name only 1998 version. I don't deal with the tuna head. I do have a 12-inch action figure with him with the noise reaction, and you could press him and he makes the noise. It was a Godzilla at the time when we needed a Godzilla, but unfortunately, Roland Emmerich and Dean Devlin really didn't come through. And yeah, we had that moment where Kenpachiro Satsuma, who played the second overall Godzilla suit actor, winds up walking out of the movie theater at that time during the first showing and saying that's not Godzilla. He doesn't run away. And honestly, it's still a kaiju film. I do acknowledge that it could be considered Godzilla, yes, a Godzilla adjacent. And I'm not saying I didn't like that movie. I did like that movie for what it was. So, for those of you who listen to me on Wilhelm, yes, I have a love or liking of Godzilla 1998, but other than Godzilla, my other favorites are, guess what, Dimitri?
What?
Titanosaurus.
Uh, I I love the concept of him,
Mm-hmm.
and I want to see
More of him.
yeah, him just come back, and then instead of like having him like in the comics, like antagonistic force, like everything else,
Yes.
have him give us a peaceful Titanosaurus at first. Then you can brainwash him
A
so we can feel
peaceful
sorry
one.
for him.
How is he peaceful?
Yeah. So, from what I can remember from Terry,
Mhm.
he was supposed to be like, a peaceful dinosaur living in the ocean, and
Mhm.
then he gets tagged in the back of the head, and they start to control him to
Mhm.
do destructive things. So I would love uh for like a comic movie or what have you to have
Mhm.
Titanosaurus be that passive dinosaur, and
Okay.
being forced to battle.
En- Engage into some sort of battle with like Godzilla or some other
Yeah,
creature to battle for the world or to destroy the
yeah,
world, as it were.
yeah.
It could be Godzilla, as a lot of listeners here who are new to kaiju or Godzilla, or the Godzilla verse, as I call it. Godzilla could be either a hero, or B, a fiend. And originally, if a lot of you who don't know it, Godzilla was created based upon about how World War II had struck, and the A bomb and the atomic bomb, and how Hiroshima and Nagasaki was destroyed, and it was literally what America had done to Japan at that time. And it's showing how it's like, if you think about it, Godzilla was America destroying everything, and it's so sad. But the thing is that they related it, and the way it became legacy, in a sense of they used a monster to show the destruction of what man can do to other man. And that is why we love this to some degree, because it shows how shallow men can be, and how there is some sort of pride. But within the monster itself, we do see a savior, in a sense of showing man's futility, how he is terrible at what he does, and how naive he is with his power. So that's the only reason why I love it, because it shows how fallible man can be. Um, and I love that. And God forbid if I ever had to see a true kaiju in my life, I'd be running the other way. If I saw Godzilla, I'd be like, hell no, get me the hell out of here.
I'm on
But
that. I'm on that generation cusp where I'll be torn between just what run away, uh, or
or
before run
just
away.
sit there and
Or,
watch going, oh my God, that is
yeah,
awesome.
or yeah, or before run away, just like, oh, I got you. Wait, shh.
I'm burned already. Damn. Yeah, exactly. Right, dude.
Just take a selfie real quick and then bolt.
Take a selfie. It's like, oh, my phone just burned up. Damn. I can't upload that. It's like, oh
Caption
my
would be
goodness.
caption would
Yeah.
be I was 100 meters from Godzilla. I survived, not clickbait.
Well, you could be like Hank Azaria, where he got stuck between the toes and then does the foot
Oh yeah.
stomp, and he was like right there, and it's like, oh, and, and he starts laughing hysterically because he
Yeah.
survived.
Uh,
But that was the coolest part out of '98 that you got out of
yes.
that. Hank Azaria's reaction to in downtown Wall Street, everybody. Do you have another favorite other than
Uh,
Godzilla? You already mentioned Varen, so
yeah.
what's your
Um,
next one?
but Biolante.
Ooh. Oh,
Yeah, just
I
I'm really I'm like really into like the tragic kaiju.
and it is a
Um,
tragedy
yeah.
story because you have a daughter of a scientist that died tragically, and through the Godzilla genes, they were able to incorporate that into plant life. And then with that, the genetic gene pool kind of mixed to the point where it started to attack. But then within that particular movie, we got to see a syndicate that they were trying to get grasp at. So that actually started with the series, which I thought was interesting. That it's like, oh, you have a certain technical group that could actually work like against Godzilla, and then you got these people that want it's like secret ops. We have to get the technology of Godzilla and these genes and everything else. Oh, and then next thing you know, the thing morphs into a plant like Godzilla. That is amazing, and the final outcome is amazing for the fact that we see this big, huge, dysmorphed flower, and then it turns into this thing that's like a I don't know. Would you call it a dinosaur slash serpent Godzilla replica? It was very hard. Trendmasters had one that was out there, a figure I could not get in the early to mid 90s when it came out. I have all the others. I have the green, the gray Godzillas. I have Space Godzilla. I have Mecha King Ghidorah, and then I have Space Godzilla. They put out a Biollante one, which is very, very hard to come by, everybody. I tried looking high and low, even back then in 1994, 95. Can't find it anywhere. And if you do, guess what? It's like the Cloverfield action figure. Yeah, it had years ago. And it's like mega buku bucks. But the look of it is amazing. Honestly, I have a keychain version of Biollante that I got, and you could get them if you go to certain 7-Elevens, or where was it? Oh, I'm forgetting the name of the company, but they had it there, and they had little bags that you could pop open, and you don't know what you get. It was a surprise one, and I got a Biollante, and it's amazing. I was so happy. I was like, oh, how did I get this? It's amazing. But Biollante is one of those. It's like a cross-platform character between Godzilla and a plant life form, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Do you want to go in more depth about the character and what you liked about it?
Um, I think she's like a really good kaiju to explore the unlimited. That is adorable. The un
I found this at I'm showing him the keychain and it's kind of blurred out, but I'm gonna unblur myself for him so he could see it. He'll be like, my God. And he'll be like, wow. So yeah, so
oh
this is yeah. If you look at it, it's got the armatures, it's got the little armatures and everything else. It's got the snout and everything else. These are hard to come by because it has apertures on it that make the character what it is. It's almost like what Ghidorah, where he has multiple heads, but you have a main head, but you have four others that are mandibles, right? Would you say
yep.
that? Okay.
Yeah.
And they bite just the same. And they go after Godzilla, and they do damage to
Oh yeah.
Godzilla at that point. It was the one movie that came out after Godzilla
19.
1985,
Yeah.
but technically in America it was 1985, but in Japan it was after 1984. So this movie technically came out what 1988,
89.
89 in America. So it's a formidable foe. It's a character that I look forward to seeing eventually in Toho.
Mm-hmm.
And we do not know what's going to happen within the Toho or Legendary. Actually, I said Toho, but it's going to come back in the Legendary films, I think. I honestly think that's where they're going to go with this. When it comes to Godzilla minus zero, that's another story. And
Oh
we're
yeah.
going to talk about that too after we do Monarch too.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody, we're hopefully by the time we finish Monarch season 2, we'll go into Godzilla minus one,
Ooh.
and then we'll talk about minus zero.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right, you love Biollante. I have a love for Biollante too. I really do enjoy that character. Um, Mine, you're gonna laugh. It's out of the worst Godzilla films out there. It's from Godzilla's Revenge, and it has Manila or Minya in it. And it's about a kid who gets picked on, beat on, abused. And within that movie, yeah, you get Spiegela, but you get Gabra. Gabra had that guttural kind of
Mm-hmm.
noise and everything else. And he had the electrical hands. And oh my God, that character was like, I wanted to see him again, but we never ever saw him again. It was the only movie that you got him, but he was so evil, so distinct, and you never saw him again. It was one of those, it's kind of like Titanosaurus for me. It's
Yeah.
like, Gabra just like, who's there? Then he's not. It's like, what happened? We can ever see this guy again? No.
Only in like a cameo form with Singular Point. Like they in Singular Point there's this other kaiju that I don't know the name of. It's essentially just Gabre. I
Yeah.
redesigned Gabre that's called something that isn't Gabre for some reason. It's like what?
Yeah.
You know?
It's so
Okay, well,
weird. They bring in characters that you do love, and you're like, you want to see them again. They never there again.
yeah.
Yeah, it's like Jet Jaguar was brought in for what Godzilla versus Megalon, and then he disappears
Yes.
after that. But he was the
Yeah.
Ultraman of Godzilla that we didn't get. And then they created Ultraman after that at that point too. And they created a whole series, everybody. Yeah, you could get those series right now, the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, in even the most recent ones that are out there for, you know, Ultraman, which was Jet Jaguar. I don't think they'll bring him back into
I
that.
I I can see him just be like an exo suit. That's what it
An
with
exosuit, what,
AI.
like an exosuit for like somebody who's like a normal person, and then they generate and
Yeah,
make go grow big. Okay, I could see that happening, and that's going a little bit elaborate for like Legendary to do
yeah,
something like that.
yeah. It would
But
have to
they,
be like
yeah,
probably have to be like anime form, probably for it to
it would.
like unless you want to like throw uh make a Godzilla film like years in the future, like 20 like the 2100s or whatnot.
Well, they did do that with Godzilla recently too, on Netflix. If you remember the
Yeah,
animation, I have not
yeah.
watched it, unfortunately. Everybody, yes,
Uh,
I feel bad as a Godzilla fan that I didn't watch the original. Mind you, that is the largest known Godzilla in Godzilla history. And how tall was that one, Dimitri? I forget.
God, it was it. I know that it probably exceeded like 1,000 feet.
Yeah, and it was the largest kaiju known in Toho history, and it exceeds any other Godzilla height known to man, even including Legendary at this point. And even
Yeah,
Legendary's not that big as well, too, because there are others that are just as tall, even in Toho history
yeah.
as well.
I remember everyone was making jokes that Legendary and Toe was having a our Godzilla's bigger than yours contest.
Yeah, it's like a big, yeah, it's like measuring penises. Who's got the bigger one, you know? But the funny thing is that who cares? It's what destruction that they could do, or how they are able to do what they are able to do
Yeah,
within a fight. And honestly, I think the 90s Godzilla had more interaction and destruction than most. The 60s and 70s version, and I'm not like trying to make Haru Nakajima look bad. I love the suit actor. I've met the man several times and I love him to death. I have several pictures with the man, and he was so nice. He couldn't
oh
speak a
yeah.
lick of English, but I love him to death. But him and Satsuma were so nice to hang around with. But I think Godzilla versus the Smog Monster, Hedorah, was is a great movie because it showed that Godzilla could show his own, and he got shot in the face with pollution and hurt and did the full kick. Uh, you know, uh, Godzilla versus what, the Mothra, when he comes out of the sand.
Yeah,
That,
that is Mothra versus Godzilla.
yeah, that to me was like an amazing scene, and that was done real time at certain points. If you look at it, old miniature sets and everything else. That's a testament to the filming of these shows. But yeah, I have to say Gabra was one of mine that I loved. Dimitri, what was another one that you liked?
Well, since this is 2026, Mothra, mainly because this year is going to be the 65th anniversary of her first film.
Ooh, okay. So Mothra's 65th anniversary is coming up soon.
Yep.
So, yep. All right, cool. I like that. And by the way, everybody, there's three full distinct Mothra films that are out there that you could get, you could download, you could actually, find them on Tubi, you could find them on your digital formats out there. So if all you remember is the 60th version, or maybe Godzilla versus Batra, and it had Mothra in it too, and there was a whole thing in there and battle in there. It's amazing. And some of the there was a couple of 90s ones when Mothra showed her face and did everything. But I love the 60s version. I'm very much a fan of the larval version of Mothra on the ground. And for those of you who go to G-Con in Japan, there was a guy who actually did a cosplay of the Mothra larva version crawling around, and he did that all day. And it was amazing. You can see it on YouTube, everybody. These are things that you could actually do. Just look up G-Con on YouTube, and you could see all the videos of all the cosplayers out there. They are so unique. They only hold them in two areas, I think. One in the far west coast of the United States, and then in Japan. We used to have them in New York City, where I used to go. I went to three of them, and then they kind of dissolved. They just got rid of them completely. The only time I've ever been able to see any of the actors from the original 60s, 70s, maybe 80s original Toho version series actors, I would see them at Chiller Theater Con, Monster Mania, I think Fangoria convention in Manhattan every once in a while. And it's very sporadic. But they mostly go to the West Coast, which is in California, and then Japan for G-Con. And if you have the opportunity, please go to those. If you have the opportunity to go to, it's one of the best things. It's kind of like those anime fans that are out there. My friend, she's my friend, or a friend of mine. She loves anime. She does her own Twitter account and everything. She loves that stuff. And she went out there and she went to Toho, and I was like so jealous. She went to actually did the tour, and Godzilla is such an icon out there, and it's a status, just like Ultraman, Hello Kitty, everything out there that Japan puts out. It's amazing. So you said Mothra. All right, I love the idea, and there's nothing more to be said about Mothra herself. I have to go with another unknown, and King Caesar. And we did get to see King Caesar again. King Caesar was
2004's Final Wars.
Final Wars. Yeah, Final Wars was the last version, but before that, we got that from another Godzilla film in the 60s, and he just was like came and went. He was just like some sort of icon or totem on an island, and they removed something, but aliens were involved at that point.
No, that was in 74.
Yeah.
Because that's when we were first introduced to Mechagodzilla.
I thought Mechagodzilla was in the late 60s, 68, but it's just probably return of Mechagodzilla, right?
No, we did have a Mecha Kaiju, which is Mechani Kong, either from late 60s or sometime in the 70s.
Yes.
But
when he says Mechani Kong, it's the mechanical King Kong, everybody.
Yeah. I have that film, I still gotta watch it. But anyways, Mechagodzilla came in 74, then and then again in 75. And then Godzilla went into hibernation until 84.
Yes, he did. Sadly enough, that's what sucked about that, is because there was like such a long distance between whenever we got a new Toho series. And Toho had done that specifically for the fact that, and mind you, Godzilla has the most movies out there, more than James Bond, more than Jason Voorhees from Friday the 13th. He has more films as a star actor and I'm saying that loosely, everybody, actor, character, I should say.
Yeah.
But I you gotta love it, and you gotta love the character itself, and it's been strong for over 70 years. And this is why me and Dimitri love this. We're children at heart. I'm 53. Dimitri, how old are you?
30.
There you go. So we have a love for these characters. We could be older, we could be older children, but the thing is that the heart of the character, the distinguishment of what they do, whether they're human or not, and in this case, they're not. Godzilla is not, but we love to look for this and look for it because it's astonishing. And whether it be a man in suit on screen, whether they're CGI created through Legendary, we just love watching these films and these shows because not just for the destruction, but the understanding of what it represents. It's about society and how it's a breakdown and how we should all come together. We're destroying ourselves. And that's what these monsters are showing, but they're also protecting us at the same time. Now, mind you, Godzilla could be a villain, Godzilla could be a hero. It depends on the story per movie. So that is why we do and we love what we love. Anyhow, so enough about our favorite kaijus. What stuff do we have in our collection? So, Dimitri, we're not going to do a show and tell everybody this is not a video podcast, but you could explain, what do you have? What do you cherish? What do you like?
I have obviously the movies of countless kaiju
Okay.
films, or what I believe to be, or what I put into the category of kaiju films. Because
All right.
giant monster movie, kaiju movie is kind of like, I put them under the umbrella term of monster movie.
Mhm.
Um, so for me, like, I consider Tremors to be sort of like a kaiju film
It
and
is
all
a
that.
kaiju
Yeah.
film. It's big worms out there. It's Dune. Dune. I see it's Dune on acid. Because literally, you got Kevin Bacon going out there, and you got the little worms coming out and chompers coming out after you. So I thought that was
Yeah.
always cool.
I also have some posters. I have a Godzilla 1985 poster.
Okay.
Um, I've got some books, both novelizations as well as info books.
Okay.
Uh, and I also have figures. And one of them that I'm looking at right now is the Sakura version. I call it the Sakura version. -1 Sakura version movie monster figure.
Oh,
And
okay.
then a queue of the same uh line and a random Funko Pop 1984 Godzilla figure.
Oh, all right, cool.
um
Do you have any
and I
NECA figures that came
uh,
out?
I I have a GMK one. Uh
I have
I
that too. I have the GMK NECA figure, everybody. That's what I was trying to come up with, and I
yeah.
couldn't remember the name. NECA comes out with some great ones. I have Godzilla versus Mothra. I have wow. I have Shin Godzilla, but I took it out of the because they were doing blister packs at the time. I took it out of the blister pack. I have it outside. Um, I love that one. I love. Oh my goodness. There are so many Godzilla 1985 version. I have some
Oh,
in boxes still from NECA. I have Kong Skull Island. I have Trendmasters. I have the Trendmasters interactive. I would say they're 12-inch tall, but between from head to tail, they're probably with the Space Godzilla, it's probably about 13 to 14 inches long. and literally it's motion sensitive. So if I used to have them in my bathroom in my old house, and my girlfriend hated me because all of them screamed as soon as you turn on the lights. And I have those. I have Gigan. I have Mecha King Ghidorah. I have Space Godzilla. I have the two different version of Godzilla, which I'm proud to have. I have my NECA Godzillas that I've been collecting over the years, in and out of box. I have original Toho programs for Space Godzilla and Godzilla versus Destroyer, and then as well as a few video games. So I don't know, Dimitri, do you have any of the video
Oh,
games like PS5, PS4,
uh,
PS3?
so when I had a PS2, I believe, I did have Godzilla Unleashed, and then for the
Okay.
PS4, I have the Godzilla PS4 game. I also have some comics, which includes the Marvel Ultraman comic.
Ooh,
Yeah, the first volume.
awesome.
Um, and I yearn to have even one of the X Plus 84 figures. I mean, I find it hilarious that randomly Toho decided to give 1984 some love,
Yes.
and I'm like, I want it, I want it, I want
Oh,
all of it.
I wanted the Shogun Warriors Godzilla
Oh,
with the, it had the fist that popped out and punched, had the tongue that you could just, spit out a little bit. It was very hard to come by. It's expensive as all hell. I'm still mad at Ming Chen from Comic Book Man, and he owns one, and they're hard to come by, but every time you go to a convention, they're outrageously overpriced, in my opinion. But I just wanted to get a version of it myself. I was wondering and hoping that they would actually reissue that, and I could get that and just get that nostalgia. I had a Shogun Warriors. I actually had a Ryu figure, the tall one with the wheels and everything else, with the spaceship that comes out of the head of the robot. But I always wanted the Godzilla. I only knew one person as a kid that had the Godzilla figure. And it's so sad. I wish I had that. But you could find those Godzilla stuff, like the Shogun Warriors one. They have a small box figure of that around that you could buy at conventions or at your local comic shops. So, but my collection ranges from, like I said, the video games. I got it on Xbox, the original Godzilla one that they came out. What you said about PS2. I got the one on PS3. I have the Japanese version, which is all region that I use, and then I have the PS4 version, all region as well. And then I'm looking forward to, guess what, when it comes out, for the legendary version that comes out soon on PS5. I'm looking forward to having that. I keep my game systems as much as I do my action figures and everything else. And I said, yes, I'm 53 years old, but I sound like a grown child, but I am. I do play those games still every once in a while. I sound like little like Lemmy Kilminster from Motorhead, because Lemmy used to play video games and do all that stuff. I still do the same thing. The man lived into his 70s, and he still loved that stuff. Me, I still love this stuff. Never, women, ladies, do not trash a man based upon his loves, whether it be music, his toys. Yes, we have toys, cars, or everything else. But the thing is, we have these things, and that's part of my love in life. Yes, we are geek. We are nerds. This is who we are. Accept, accept us and embrace us. I just love the idea of this. But yeah, I have a lot of that stuff, and I still have it around. Same thing with Jurassic Park, Jurassic World. I have a lot of that stuff hanging around. Jurassic World and Jurassic Park would fit in the kaiju format for the fact that they are dinosaurs, but they're mutations.
Yeah.
There's so many things out there, but I have a lot in my collections. You already mentioned, Dimitri, about comics. There's also Godzilla Destroys the Marvel Universe. You also have Godzilla versus the Marvel Universe. I have the trade paperback. I read it. Oh my god. But the one that like destroys is amazing for the fact that at the end of verses, guess what? He has a venom symbiote on his body. Did you read that or no?
I've heard about it. I heard
You
about that
got
because I remember like I when touched like drawing, talking about
mhm.
how cool would it be if Godzilla had a symbiote, and obviously when it happened, I heard all about it on the internet.
Yep. I have the trade paperback at the very end, the last panel that you get. It's a panel, obviously no pixel, everybody. Not to talk about my other podcast, but they show him full symbiote with the big spider on him, all black, Godzilla all in black, like a Venom. It's amazing. I have the original run of the Marvel Comics Godzilla series. I watched the original, Hanna-Barbera
Yeah.
Godzilla series on TV when it came out. That's how old I am, but I still enjoy that stuff. A lot of you, I did enjoy, of all things, too, is the 98 version of the animated series.
Yeah, I did too. I mean,
Yeah,
I have the complete series in my collection.
there you go. So it's still a good run. I thought they were able to enhance upon that, which was great. But the thing is that it sucks they we didn't get a sequel based upon that movie. Honestly, they all
Yeah.
the little Godzillosauruses that were there that were dead or semi-dead, except for that one that jumped out at the end. They could have created a sequelized version of it, and
They were planning to, but then the reception of the first film, they cut
it
it,
just
ended at
dropped.
the animated uh series instead.
Yeah. They did release it on Steelbook Blu-ray, everybody, 4K version. I have that. Yes, go figure. I actually did buy it. And and you could actually see it on, Netflix and HBO and all that stuff still to this day. I'm not saying that I hate Matthew Broderick. I do not. I love Hank Azaria. I love Matthew Broderick. Maria Patillo, oddly enough, that was her like biggest film and the last film she wound up doing. She did a couple of other films before that, and then you had oh, I'm forgetting his name, but he was the head
Mhm.
reporter and nobody liked him because he was very
Yeah.
short, but he was in Spinal Tap. Anyhow, there's so much out there that are in our collections, and I'm hoping that you guys share your collection of Godzilla of whatever you have as well. All you have to do is send in some sort of feedback at that point when we do the first official episode. Darren, granted that this is our introduction and this is promo, a second promo before we get into the podcast. We're just having fun and discussing and casually hanging out, talking about Godzilla and things that we love. If you like that and you like the idea that we're going to talk about Monarch, we will do another Monarch episode about season 1, just an overall coverage. And therein, you could send in feedback. So, with that, we're going to move into where we could be heard. Well, obviously, I could be heard here on the Kaiju Cast podcast, as always. You could hear me on Panels to Pixels podcast. You could hear me on the Sandman cast on Podcastica. It's still out there. Everybody could listen to it. You could hear me on Adrenaline Cinema podcast or on the Pyrocore Entertainment Network podcast that we have. And then any other podcasts that we do on the Pyrocore Entertainment. All you have to do is go to pyrocoreentertainment.com and then just follow the links. Obviously, they're going to be here in the podcast or on your YouTube. Dimitri, where else can they could hear you, or can they just hear you here right now?
Yeah, you can both hear and watch me on my personal channel, which is Godzilla Kaiju. I have my own technically three, but mainly two podcasts there. One being the K-Force podcast, where I just where me and a group of friends just talk about Godzilla stuff, kaiju stuff in general. And my new show, Kaiju Rambles, which is a live show. The first episode I have just done yesterday, and I have a second episode for Mothra's 65th anniversary up for next Saturday. Pretty much I just ramble about kaiju stuff.
Okay.
The live time can be anywhere from an hour to 2 hours, 3, 4, however long I want to ramble with my viewers and friends.
And it can be found on YouTube or any
Yes,
podcast
YouTube.
player of choice. All right, cool.
Mainly YouTube.
All right, cool. So that could be found on YouTube as what?
Just Godzilla Kaiju.
Godzilla.
It can be, yes, it can be found at Godzilla Kaiju.
Godzilla Kaiju. All right,
Yes.
Cool. And as always, you can check all the other podcasts on pyrocoreentertainment.com. We highly recommend that you check that out. There will be links for not only for Kaiju Cast podcast, but all the other media that we have on the network. If you feel the need to reach out to us in any way, just go to that website and click on the links for that particular for those particular podcasts, or even this one. We can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or whatever podcast player of choice that you use. If ratings are available, which they always are for Apple Podcasts and Spotify, please give us a thumbs up, a 5-star review, and please submit some sort of feedback. Be greatly appreciated. You could check out our website, like I said, pyrocoreentertainment.com. You can follow us on Facebook, which would be facebook.com/KaijuCastPodcast. And then you could email us if you feel the need to write a specific email. All you have to do is email kaijukastpodcast@gmail.com. kaijukastpodcast@gmail.com. All one word. And you can write your thoughts out there. You can record yourself, send it as an attachment, and guess what? We will play it, whether video or audio. And then guess what? You'll be part of the podcast at that point. Be awesome. We can be found on Instagram at KaijuCast_podcast. That's at KaijuCast_podcast. And you can find us on Instagram. YouTube, we could be found if you search Kaiju Cast with a hyphen on the cast podcast. We will be found, and all you have to do is either give us a thumbs up, subscribe, ring the bell to be notified, and you'll be told when the next video or audio will be sent up. Obviously, YouTube does podcasts everywhere as well, everybody, as well as video. So the next episode of this podcast, which will be the premiere of the podcast, we will be covering Monarch Season 2, Episode 1. I don't have a title for it yet, but we will have it. When it comes, you will get notified on Facebook, Instagram, and all the other cool stuff. So, with that, I just want to thank everyone for listening. I'm Mark.
And I'm Dimitri.
Don't get stomped on, everybody. We'll talk to you guys later.